So, welcome everyone, and thank you for listening. So, let's explore the longing to be seen from a family system's perspective. There's a particular kind of loneliness that has nothing to do with being alone. It's the loneliness of being surrounded by people, your family, your friends, your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, and still feeling invisible. Like they are looking at you, but they are not really seeing you. They see the role that you play, the function that you serve, and the version of you that's acceptable, that doesn't ask too much or reveal too much. But you, the actual you, with your needs, your feelings, your truth, that part remains unseen. So today we are going to explore one of the deepest wounds in the family system: not being seen. This isn't about feeling sorry for yourself or blaming your family. This is about understanding something fundamental that happens in families. How some people get seen and others don't. How some parts of you get acknowledged and other parts have to stay hidden. From a family constellation perspective, being seen or not being seen shapes everything about how you move through the world, how you work, whether you believe you matter. So settle in, get comfortable. We are going to go deeper into this now together. So what does it actually mean to be seen? Now, being seen is different from being noticed, different from being praised or validated or told that you did a good job. Being seen means someone witnesses you as you actually are. Not the performance, not the role, not the version of you that makes them comfortable, but you, with your complexity, with your contradictions, with your fullness. Being seen means your feelings are real, your needs are valid, your existence matters, not because of what you do or how useful you are or how little trouble you cause, but simply because you are. Most of us were not seen this way as children. We were seen when we achieved something, when we behaved, when we made our parents proud or happy or comfortable, when we played the role the family needed us to play. But when we were angry, scared, needy, messy, or difficult, those parts were not seen. Those parts had to be hidden. And so we learned, I am only visible when I'm acceptable. I only exist when I'm pleasing. I only matter when I'm not too much. And this is the wound of not being seen, and it runs deep. How not being seen shows up in your life now. Maybe you perform. You've become so good at being what others need that you don't even know who you are anymore. You read the room, you adjust, you become whoever will be most accepted, most liked, least threatening. And that works. People like you, but they don't know you. because you're not showing them you. You're showing them the version you think they can handle. Or maybe you've gone the opposite way. You've made yourself so invisible that no one even thinks to look. You don't speak up. You don't take up space. You don't ask for anything. Because you learned, when I'm visible, I'm a burden. When I have needs, I'm too much. So it's safer for me just to disappear. Or maybe you chase visibility desperately. You need constant validation, constant reassurance that you exist, that you matter. Every like, every comment, every bit of attention feels proof that you're real. But it's never enough. Because what you're getting isn't true seeing. It's just another performance being applauded. Or maybe you sabotage intimacy. Because when someone gets close enough to actually see you, all of you, not just the acceptable parts, you start to panic. What if they don't like what they see? What if the real you isn't enough? So it's safer just to leave before they discover that. Or maybe you're angry. You're exhausted from performing, from hiding, from making yourself small. You're resentful that no one sees you. But you can't say that. Because saying, I need to be seen, feels needy, demanding, like you're asking for too much. Do any of these land for you? They are all just adaptations of not being seen, ways you've learned to survive a family system where your full self was never welcome. Now, the family constellation perspective, why weren't you seen? So in family constellation work, we understand that not being seen isn't usually about parents or intentional cruelty on somebody's part. It's about what the system could hold and allow. Maybe your parents were overwhelmed, stressed, dealing with their own pain, their own trauma, their own struggles, and they simply didn't have the capacity to truly see you, to witness your emotional rage, or to hold space for your complexities. So they just saw the parts of you that were easy, the parts that didn't require too much from them, and the rest, the messy parts, the needy parts, the angry or scared or sad parts, those had to go underground. Or maybe there was a sibling who needed more attention, someone who was sick, struggling, or acting out. And you learned the way to be valuable in this family is not to need anything, just to be the easy one, the invisible one, and the one who takes care of themselves. And you were praised for this. You are so independent, you're so mature, you're no trouble at all. But what you heard was, you're only loved when you don't need anything. You only matter when you're not a burden. Or maybe there was a family secret, something that couldn't be talked about, a loss, a trauma, an exclusion. And the whole family learned, we don't look too closely, we don't see what's uncomfortable. We keep things on the surface where it's safe. So you learn to not look either. Not to see yourself too deeply, because deep seeing, deep truth wasn't safe in your family. Or maybe your parents themselves were never truly seen. Maybe this is a generational pattern. Your grandmother wasn't seen, Your mother wasn't seen, and so your mother didn't know how to see you. Not because she didn't love you, but because she didn't have a template of what true seeing looks like. And this is the systemic view. Not being seen isn't just about you and your parents. It's about patterns that run through generations. Patterns of emotional unavailability, of keeping things surface level, and of only acknowledging what's comfortable. And you inherited that pattern. You carry it in your body, in how you present yourself, in what parts of you feel safe to show, and what parts of you stay hidden. Now let's talk about something we don't usually admit. The ways we try to force people to see us. The manipulative, desperate, unhealthy, often subconscious things we do when we are starving for visibility. Maybe you create drama, because when there is chaos, people have to pay attention. They have to look at you. Even if it's a negative attention, at least it's attention. At least you exist. Or maybe you help others compulsively. You become the person everyone needs. Because if you're useful enough, necessary enough, maybe they'll have to acknowledge you. Maybe they'll finally have to see your value. Or maybe you overshare. You spill your pain, your trauma, your struggles, hoping that if you're vulnerable enough, raw enough, someone will finally witness you. But if it doesn't feel good, it feels exposing, desperate, like you're performing your pain to earn the right to be seen. Or maybe you achieve, you accomplish, you collect credentials, evidence of your worth, hoping that if you're impressive enough, successful enough, someone will finally look at you and say, you matter. You could also be the rebel. You act out, you become difficult, provocative, impossible to ignore. Because if you can't be seen for being good, at least you can be seen for being bad. At least you're not invisible then. And they are just shadow strategies. The ways we try to manufacture the seeing we didn't get naturally, simply by existing. Here's what's painful. None of these strategies actually work, because what we are getting isn't true seeing. It's people responding to our performance, to our usefulness, to our drama, to our achievements. But they are still not seeing us. We are still hidden, we are still alone, we are still performing scraps of attention that never satisfy the original hunger, to be witnessed fully as we are. There is also a grief here that needs to be acknowledged. The grief of growing up in a family where you were not truly seen, where your full self wasn't welcome, where you had to hide parts of yourself to be acceptable. This is a real loss. It's not a dramatic, obvious loss like death or divorce, but a quiet loss. The loss of being known, of being witnessed, the loss of mattering simply because you exist. And most of us never grieve this. We just keep performing, keep hiding, keep trying to earn what should have been given freely to us in the first place. But the grief is there. In that exhaustion of always performing, in the loneliness of never being known, in the rage of having to make yourself small, in the desperation of validation that never quite lands. This grief deserves to be felt, not to be fixed, not to be bypassed, just felt. Let's do that now. Let's meet this. Now you can close your eyes if that feels right, or you can keep them open, keep them soft, whatever you think you need right now. Just take a breath, and as you exhale, just let yourself arrive here. Not in the past, not in the story of not being seen, but just here, in your body, in this moment. Now I want you to sense into your body and notice, where do you hold the longing to be seen? Where in my body do I hold the longing to be seen? Maybe it's in your chest, an ache, a heaviness, or a longing that lives in your heart. Maybe it's in your throat. All the words you never said, all the truth you swallowed to stay acceptable. Maybe it's in your gut, a deep knowing that something essential was missing. Just notice where you feel this in your body. Now, staying with that sensation, I want you to think about a moment. It doesn't have to be traumatic, just a moment when you needed to be seen and you were not. Maybe you were a child and something happened and you needed comfort, attention, and acknowledgement, and it didn't come. Maybe you were excited about something, and when you shared it, you were met with indifference, dismissed, or ignored. Maybe you were struggling and no one noticed. No one asked if you were okay, and you were invisible in your pain. Just let that moment come to mind, to your awareness, something manageable. And as you remember this moment now, notice what happens in your body. Does your chest get tight? Does your throat close? Do you feel small or invisible, like you're disappearing? Stay with these sensations. Don't push them away. This is what not being seen feels like in your body. Now I want you to imagine that there's someone here who can truly see you. Not the you that performs, not the you that's acceptable, but the actual you, the full you, with your needs, your feelings, and your truth. Now, this could be an imagined wise presence, or the adult part of you, or whatever feels right. Just someone who has the capacity to witness you fully. And now imagine this presence looking at the younger part of you who was never seen, and offer them this through receiving my words. I see you, not what you can do for me, not how easy you are, not your performance. I see you, the actual you. I see that you needed something and didn't get it. I see that you were invisible in your family. I see that you had to hide parts of yourself to be acceptable. I see your longing. I see your loneliness. And I see your exhaustion from always performing. You didn't get seen then, but I'm seeing you now. You exist. You matter. Not because of what you do or how little trouble you cause, but simply because you are. I see you, and I see all of you. Just notice what happens when you receive this witnessing. Does something soften? Does something resist? Like this part of you doesn't trust being seen because it's always been dangerous. And either response is okay. Some parts of us have been hidden so long that being seen feels terrifying. Other parts are so hungry for it that they might collapse into the relief. Just notice what's true for you. Now place your hand on your heart or wherever you feel that longing to be seen in your body, and speak to that part of you. You spent so long making yourself acceptable, hiding the parts that were too much, performing to earn the visibility you should have had freely. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to do that. I'm sorry the people who were supposed to see you couldn't. Not because they were bad, but they couldn't hold what you were offering. But you don't have to keep performing. Not with me. Not here. I am willing to see all of you, even the parts you've kept hidden. Now, whatever you're noticing in your body, just take a few breaths here, just being with this part of you that's been unseen for so long. Now, staying connected to yourself, I want you to sense if this pattern of not being seen is bigger than your personal experience. Was there someone in your family line who also wasn't seen? Your mother, your grandmother, maybe someone further back that you don't know, but you can sense into their presence? Is there a generational pattern here? A lineage of people who learned to hide, to be invisible, to only show the parts of them that were acceptable. Tune into that now. Now, you can receive my words or silently repeat them to yourself. This pattern didn't start with me. This is something my family has carried, and I can choose to relate to it differently. I can now choose to be seen, even if that breaks the family pattern. This pattern didn't start with me. This is something my family has carried, and I can choose to relate to it differently. I can choose to be seen, even if that breaks the family pattern. I don't have to hide to belong. I can show myself and still be part of this family. I can take my rightful place, visible and whole. I don't have to hide to belong. I can show myself and still be part of this family. I can take my rightful place, visible and whole. As you say this or receive this, imagine that what belongs to the family system, the pattern, the burden of invisibility, begins to return to where it came from. You're not abandoning your family. You are releasing what isn't yours to carry forward with deep honor, deep respect, and a deep seeing. Now, whatever you're experiencing in this moment, just start to bring your attention now back to your body. Gentle movement I can feel into my body now. What you've done here is begin to witness yourself, to see the part that wasn't seen, to acknowledge that longing, that loneliness, that grief, and that exhaustion of always hiding. Now, this doesn't mean you'll suddenly feel seen by everyone. It doesn't mean the people who couldn't see you before will suddenly have the capacity to do so. But it means you are beginning to see yourself, to witness your own truth, to stop requiring external validation to know that you exist, that you matter, that you're real. And that's the beginning of something different. If your eyes were closed, you can open them. And just take a moment now to look around the room or wherever you are. Now, before we close, I want to offer you this. The longing to be seen is not weakness. It's not neediness. It's a fundamental human need. You are meant to be witnessed, to be known, to be acknowledged. Not for what you do, but for who you are. You didn't get that fully as a child, and that's a real loss. But you can begin to give it to yourself now. You can begin to see yourself, to witness your own truth, to acknowledge that you exist and you matter simply because you do. Not because you're perfect, not because you're impressive, not because you're useful, but just because you're here. And that's enough. So thank you for allowing yourself to be seen today, even if just by yourself. That matters. Thank you very much for joining me, and namaste.